example of over-concentration. Here in the talk, we have given the example of over-virya or effort about this Venerable Sayadaw who meditate in excess of putting forth energy over here. So it is not conducive in the balance of faculties, and he cannot achieve progress in his meditation. So another example of increased concentration that is disadvantageous to the progress of meditation. Let us study about it. The case was about our second chief disciple during Buddha's time. I hope you all are familiar with that name, Venerable Mahathera. Buddha has two chief disciples. Venerable Sariputta is foremost in wisdom. He is the first chief disciple. And the second chief disciple, Venerable Moggallana, was foremost in psychic powers. And both of them are friends from young, and they live in the same native village, and they grew up together. And after meeting the fifth, we go Pancha, out of the Pancha-Vakya, who become monks, the first monks in Buddha sadhana, Venerable Assaji. And they learned from Venerable Assaji a 4 stanza verse, and they became a Sotapanna, and they approached to Buddha for further instructions. It is customary for the Buddha, out of great compassion, he always keep his disciples who are meditating under his surveillance by his psychic powers. And when he become aware of this Venerable Moggallana's having sloth-torpor and having nodding in the sitting meditation, Buddha himself came to Venerable Moggallana and inquired the situation. But if the sloth-torpor is strong, it can again become sleepy and nodding can set in again. So if it recur more than 2-3 times, then you must change the object of noting. Like if sloth-torpor come by noting, rising, falling, you change to sitting, touch, give a new object, because the sloth-torpor can be due to mind having monotonous by restricting its object to 1 or 2 only. So you give a fresh object, like if sloth-torpor set in by rising, falling, you change to sitting, touch. If sloth-torpor become clear, then you can continue meditation. But if sloth-torpor is still persisting, then Buddha said, you have to open your eyes, but must do it with mindfulness, from starting with the intention, intending to open the eye, intending to open the eye, and you open the eye. When you open the eye, you see something, but concentrate on the light. During daytime, daylight. During nighttime, artificial night. So with the open eyes, you note as light, light, or bright, bright. So that will give the mind concept of daytime, and wakefulness can set in, and sloth-torpor can overcome. So you know with open eye for some time, light, light, or bright, bright. Then if everything works well, then you go back to normal routine of meditation. But if this sleepiness or sloth and torpor is still persisting, then the next step Buddha give instruction is to reflect some inspiration or Dhamma extracts or passages that you have learned, to give inspiration and for the interest, or to feed the mind with interest. Like there are many inspiring verses if you have studied Dhammapada, the Buddhas. Like and these, the example of the two chief disciples, Venerable Sayadaw and Venerable Moggallana. They just by listening to a single verse of 4 lines, Venerable Sayadaw become enlightened again, thus enlightenment, Sotapatti, path and fruition. The path and fruition of stream entry by 2 lines. And Venerable Moggallana, at the end of 4 lines, he to become a Sotapanna. Ye Dhamma Hetopa Bhava Desam Hetung Tathagato Aha. Ye Sanjayo Nirodo Evam Vadi Mahasamano. Because Venerable Sayadaw asked Venerable Assaji, because by his outside appearance, Venerable Assaji is an Arhat. While he's going for Armstrong and the down, he go with mindfulness, so his deportment and his all behaviors and movements are very graceful, serene, calm, being an Arhat. So Venerable Sayadaw follow him and ask the question. Venerable Sir, you seem to be very serene, and how do you gain your some Dhamma that is peaceful and serene? Who's your teacher and what is his teaching? And Venerable Assaji answered with these 4 lines. Ye Dhamma Hetopa Bhava Desam Hetung Tathagato. Actually the meaning is just a short gist of 4 noble truths. The answer is, and by listening the 2 lines, Venerable Sayadaw become Sotapanna. And when Venerable Sayadaw go back to the monastery, and Venerable Moggallana listened again from Venerable Sayadaw these 2 verses. And at the end of the verse, Venerable Moggallana to become as Sotapanna. So such inspiring Dhamma verses are many. So if you have learned anything, Buddha said, you try to reflect. That will give you inspiration, and mind can become alert and diligent again. And that's how you may overcome the sloth and torpor. And in the Mahabharata, if you have learned by heart, you can do mental recitation, of course, in a retreat, because not to disturb other meditators. Mental recitation. If you are in your own room, you can do softly your oral recitation also. So by doing this recitation, your sloth and torpor can be overcome. So if it does not work, still sloth and torpor is persisting. Next step, Buddha said you rub both of your ears by your hand and rubbing the ears, so that will stimulate one from sleepiness and it will become vigilant again. If not, then you have to get up from sitting position, even though the time is not up. But everything must be done with mindfulness, starting from intention, and then into get up, and then into get up. And you get up with mindfulness and do walking meditation. Preferably 1 phase noting or 2 phase noting, not to go to 3 phase noting, because 3 phase noting is slow and then concentration can set in and it can feel sleepy again. So either right step, left step, or lifting, putting down. You do quick movement, quick movement and walking meditation. If still sleepy, so you better go to the bathroom and wash your face with cool water, and you may even instill some cool clean water into the eye, and that may wake you up again, and you continue walking meditation. Then if everything fails to respond, then there's a time for us and you have to give up. Then with mindfulness, you go back to your room or kuti and to lying down meditation with the inclination, with the determination of doing lying down meditation, not to sleep. Go back, prepare the bed, lie down and do lying down meditation. Either lying, touching is the whole body touching, so you choose one spot, either head touching the pillow or the buttock touching the bed. Lying, touching, or when you are lying supine, usually this rising, falling is very clear to see. So you can know either rising, falling, or lying, touching. And if you fall asleep, then take a nap. And when you wake up mindfully and continue meditation. So that's how to deal with sloth-torpor as instructed by our Lord Buddha to his second chief disciple, Venerable Moggala. Buddha even taught like a child how to sleep. Even if you want to sleep, Buddha said you take a lion's sleep. He take example from a lion. As you all know, lion, the king of the beasts. Lion is supposed to sleep with mindfulness. When he went back to his cave or lair, before he fall asleep, he lie down and he marked his full limbs and the tail. How he put his paws, forepaws and hind paws, and how his tail is, and in that way he mindfully fall asleep. And when wake up, before he make any move, he examined his own body. He was so mindful, even waking up mindfully. And if any of his forepaws and the tail is out of position before he fall asleep, then on that day it is said that he won't go for hunting and he punish himself and he fast one day. If his paws and the tails are moved. So with this kind of Buddha's intent that even a meditator and intensive meditation should sleep with mindfulness and wake up with mindfulness. So noting of this sloth-torpor too is, actually it is Dhammanupassana Satipatthana according to these 4 foundations of mindfulness. 4 foundations means Kaya-nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on physical body. Vedana-nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on feelings and sensation. Second, the third is Citta-nupassana Satipatthana, the contemplation on consciousness of the mind. And the fourth one is Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on Dhamma. Because the word Dhamma has many implications and very wide meaning, and no single English word can translate the full meaning of Dhamma. So it is better to stick to Dhammanupassana Satipatthana. And Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, Buddha has expounded into 5 categories or 5 ways or 5 subsections for this Dhammanupassana contemplation on Dhamma. And the first section is this Nivarana Bhava, meaning hindrances chapter. Pali word Nivarana means hindrances or obstacles or impediments, because they obstruct or they hinder the meditator's progress and further development. So they are called nivarana or hindrances. So when nivarana arise, by taking up nivarana as object and meditate is this Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, the full foundation. So there are 5 nivaranas or hindrances which is commonly encountered by all meditators in meditation. The first one is Kame Chanda Nivarana. Pali word Kame Chanda Nivarana means sensuous desires. Desire to indulge in sense pleasure. This is first, or sensuous thoughts. So this is Kame Chanda Nivarana. The second is Pyapada Nivarana. Pyapada is ill will or anger or hatred. So the thoughts of anger, thoughts of hatred, thoughts of ill will arising in the mind is we call Pyapada Nivarana, the second hindrance. Then the third is the we are now discussing. The third nivarana is sloth and torpor, and Pali what we call Tina Meta Nivarana. The third one is. Then the fourth one is Odeja Kokocha, meaning restlessness and remorse. Sometimes restlessness means mind, and which we call it commonly called wandering mind, stray thoughts. Stray thoughts, so one becomes restless. And then Odeja. Kokocha means worry or remorse means some regrettable thoughts about the things we have done or the things we have not done, like that. So remorse, restlessness and worry or remorse is the fourth nivarana or impediment. And the fifth nivarana is Vicikicca nivarana. Vicikicca means doubt or more precisely skeptical doubt. Not ordinary worry doubt that I am doubtful of this, I am doubtful of that person. But here skeptical doubt meaning doubt about the Buddha, doubt about his teaching Dhamma, doubt about his disciples, Sangha, or in practice to doubt about the practice and so on. But regarding the Dhamma, if you are doubtful, that is we call skeptical doubt. So that's Vicikicca nivarana. These are 5 nivaranas or hindrances you want usually encounter in meditation that are hindering one's progress. So how to deal with these hindrances or nivaranas? So in Buddha's, in this Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, the full foundation, Buddha instructed to take up these nivaranas or hindrances as object of meditation, and you had to make a mental note or mindfully contemplate on it. Like if sensual desire arises, note sensual desire or passionate thought. If anger arises, angry, or hatred. As you understand the nature of the mind, you just contemplate on it. So as you all know, the mind's characteristic is mind can take up only one object at a time. So if your noting mind is strong, then the thought cannot continue. So by noting seriously, persistently, and diligently, it should be overcome. That is main emphasis in Vipassana Bhavana or inside meditation. Take up any object that becomes predominant and contemplate on it as meditation object. That is how to deal in a meditation practice. At the beginning it may be difficult, but you got to be patient and perseverance can overcome these nivaranas. So by patiently and perseveringly, if you can continue noting it, then this can stop or gradually lessen in intensity and disappear. If not, as just now I have elaborated about sloth and torpor, the specific means you have to see. For Tinamidas or sloth and torpor, I have just now explained in detail. And the rest nivaranas for sins, kamachanda nivarana, passionate thoughts. You have to, if you fail by noting, then you have to reflect the loathsomeness of the body and loathsomeness of these sense objects. Like by Kayagata Sati, that we could take one talk also. So different body parts contemplation or loathsomeness character of this body. This is specific antidote for the first nivarana. Then the second nivarana, for Pyavara nivarana, as you all know, you develop metta bhavana or loving kindness meditation. And that sloth and torpor I have just now given the detailed explanation. Then for Udeja, Kukuja, restlessness and remorse, and the fifth one of Vichikeja. That's why we are giving these talks to clear the doubts. And that's why we use this art tradition that when we give Dhamma talks, we use words, phrases and verses of Pali, as Pali is the language of our Lord Buddha, to impress our meditators that these talks are the teachings of Buddha, true teachings of the Buddha, and to give you inspiration. We use these words and these talks, and we give a chance to discuss at interviews. So that's how you can overcome these nivarana or hindrances. Idame punya, nibbana sa, pacayo, hodu. Idame punya, yatinam hodu, sukita hondu nyatayo, imano, punya bhagan, sapa satana, dhima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be happy. May you all be healthy. May you all be free from suffering. May you all attain eternal peace or nibbana in the shortest possible time.